Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail, and today we're taking a look at Earthbound, which was recently released on the Wii U's Virtual Console. And I just want to say, hey, yeah, we're doing something a little bit different today. So this is a classic RPG that you probably have heard about, but we're just going to skip the opening credits and dive right in a little bit. I have started just a little bit, I've gone through the prologue here, but I guess the first question on some people's minds is why in the world should I buy this instead of pirate it? And that just is more of a personal choice. Let me just put it this way. One of them is a legal way to own a game that's not paying $100 or so on eBay, and one is, well, you just really shouldn't do it because it's illegal and it's someone else's creative property, whether or not Nintendo has been doing douchey things to people on the internet lately. That said, Earthbound. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it is a game from the 90s. There are some things that are ahead of its time. There's some things that are dated. What I like most about it is its character. It's very different from the Final Fantasies of the world that were its contemporaries, but it is one of those games where you do have to open up a menu to do a lot of things. Now, it is a RPG that takes place in modern times. So, like, for instance, I'm equipped with a baseball bat, which you may say, okay, that's standard fare here in 2013, but back in those days, not so much, at least in what was released in America. But a few nice things here. Combat, very much like the Phantasy Star ilk, where you just look at your enemies and fight. And you can see here, a lot of it, at least early on, there's not too much to do other than sit here, get beaten on, and hope that I can get a critical hit. There we go. So Spiteful Crows, who I hate, except they give you cookies all the time. Yeah, you get cookies. There we go. That's always nice. But yeah, there's some things that I do really like about this game, even from back in the past, which is that you can see the enemies, there's not random encounters. And later on in the game, as you get stronger, enemies will not only run from you, but you can actually totally skip combat by running into the enemies and it'll automatically resolve itself. But we're at the very beginning of the game. We are in One It, or On It, or however you want to pronounce it. I didn't realize the whole pun of the town being one once upon a time, but see, here it goes. It takes place pretty much in just town, modern locations, modern society, and first thing that we're going to do here is just get a map, because that's important. Can only borrow maps. Yeah, I'm going to borrow. Here's a map. One is the only thing that's on this map. The info's there, isn't there? Press X button and allows to view it. How convenient. So yeah, the game's a little bit self-aware, and it does poke fun of itself throughout, and you can see, oh, a very happy person right here who's not going to talk. It's useless talking to him now, but yeah, we can explore plenty of places back here. The library's mostly newbie tutorial stuff, which you get often in RPGs back then, at least in these times. So what we're going to do here is just pretty much try and work our way around town. I'm just going to do a little bit of playing through, just to kind of show you all what Earthbound's like in case you haven't seen it before. But let's see here. I'm doing watch out for hideout. Can you take over? Sure. So yeah, if I can actually get back, he's going to go right in there and just hide, isn't he? Because there is a secret path around here. But let's do some more combat first. Yeah, I think that kid's actually standing in the secret path, so I probably need to reset it with combat. But yeah, all the enemies here so far are pretty easy. And now this is an RPG that you do need to grind some, so it's not one that's... There's some difficult stretches in it. I've never actually beaten Earthbound all the way through. It is one of those games that when I was younger, I did rack up some, or I shouldn't say I did, but my family, I caused them to rack up some pretty significant late fees at Blockbuster. Remember when Blockbuster used to exist? Alright, so get Mr. Baseball Cap. You know you want it for a long time. It's the best cap, someone really brave like you, so cool, got a cap. And I dream about you. You were traveling with a cute girl. If the dream comes true, say hi to her for me. After all, I'm single. Gross. Not that gross. So I don't know if I can talk to this other douche over here. You're grown since I saw you. You're beginning to look like a man. You're so cool. I think I really like you. Well, you know what I mean. Interesting. Don't tell me they're actually going for, let's see here. Kind of the very risque. Oh, 9 defense. I'm thinking 5 things at once, because this was the mid-90s and talking about any kind of homosexuality was completely taboo. Maybe they're going for that, maybe they're not, but then again, this could be Japanese development, just a little bit different. And America is certainly taboo, so happy little mole. I'm not your enemy, I simply get average run-of-the-mill mole. I don't need any hints. So let's look at the map. because we have a few places we want to go. I can grind enemies a little bit, which is what I'm going to want to do. I'm going to need to go by the hotel, and eventually we're going to be working our way to Tucson here, but just a little bit of combat first. So let's actually, while we're just doing this, as the combat's going to be pretty basic, just talk some shop. I mean, I did grow up on a lot of these kind of RPGs, and it's funny sort of look and see where the genre's gone. I mean, Square Enix, or back then Square and separately Enix, really did a lot of carrying the torch early on in terms of just creating the genre on consoles, making it really viable, as we're going to have these really scary looking people. Big footprint at the top of this hill behind the shack, and that's actually where we're trying to head to for the story. But I mean, RPGs nowadays, it's really a crowded market. I mean, you have big super presentation things like well, let's see here. Obviously you have Skyrim, you have the big budget AAA titles, and I'm not saying big budget is bad or anything. It's some games more is good, some games more is not so much. But then you have smaller independently developed titles that you can get a lot of good mileage out of as well. So it's interesting to see where Nintendo really hasn't gone too much into the RPG sphere on their own, though they did acquire Monolith Soft to kind of do that. Let's not get into the Xenoblade debacle too much of how they really mismanaged that. They had a great IP on their hands, as I'm level 4. And I get Hypnosis A, which puts enemies to sleep, obviously. So let's eat some of these cookies. They don't give a lot of life, but I do need some life. Yeah, because Xenoblade is something that that sold really well for the incredibly limited release it had. And I mean, if it takes a whole fan campaign to try and get Nintendo to listen, that's kind of on them as a big problem, which Nintendo has been pretty out of touch in some way, shape, or form. As let's see, your burger shop. What's in the trash can? I believe it's a hamburger. No, I'm not going to talk to the trash can. It's not Oscar the Grouch. But I mean, there's still time to improve, don't get me wrong. I do like Nintendo Xenoblade. It's one of my favorite games. I did start an LP series of it, which I will continue. I did have some emulation issues with it a little bit, but I think I've gotten those mostly figured out. It's just a matter of time. And once it gets, say, closer to, let's see, I don't think there's anything I can check in the mailbox. No problem. I'm just checking people's trash. Let's see here, there's a plain old garbage. That's nice. At least it's not going to stick me out a little bit. Anything in the hotel. But I mean, Xenoblade's good. Xenoblade 2, or not Xenoblade 2, it's just Project X. People call it Xenoblade 2. So let's see here, we can check the ATM, try and withdraw a little bit more money. And I want $96. This is another nice thing about this game, is just that, yeah, it does play up the modern thing pretty well. Because it's like you have to manage your funds, manage your money. And you're just a kid walking around doing whatever. Spit their gun on me. Yeah, this is a town that's overrun by people. But, overrun by the sharks, which are bad MFers. But I mean, Nintendo has a lot of creative ideas, and I mean, there's been a lot of talk of the Wii U dying. I don't think that's the case. But there's also talk of them because other parties have kind of ditched. They're having to, say, release their own IPs, ramp up their own production, and I do wonder if we'll see another Earthbound or Mother game released in the United States. I do not know the answer to that. But if it's something where they have to look and reevaluate themselves and say, hey, we need to be a little more creative, I am all for that. Now, I think I've gotten most of what I can get here. And level 4 is a decent level to be in for the next status. Now, I could run all the way up across town. There is not a lot in the way of fast travel. So I'm going to go to the shop before we progress here, as I don't get hit by a car. Because one, it's not very big, but we're not getting a lot of enemies in the middle either. Don't you think we'd be needing a weapon? The drugstore sells things you can use. I know about that. And you can't just pay with your ATM card. You actually have to withdraw cash. So drugstore has a weapon. Right now I'm using a cracked bat. I'm going to want a little more there. And there's a phone and ATM conveniently near there. Woof woof, I'm a Ruffini dog. I'm being possessed by the spirit of a game designer rough. Do you see the window showing blah blah blah? Yeah. So this is just more new player information. Kind of overwhelming if you think about it for people who haven't played these kind of games before, didn't grow up with them. I mean, you play some of the older games, like old Fallout, for instance, or even a lot of the old like Dungeons and Dragons games, and they explain nothing to you. So let's see here. This is flashing means it's good. Only problem is, yeah, I do want the T-ball bat and baseball cap. Okay, well, cheap bracelet I'm not going to be able to afford without some grinding. So we're going to go with the T-ball bat. And it's nice that they do let you equip and store and automatic buyback. But that's because inventory space is incredibly limited in this game. So cheap bracelet's good, but I can't afford it. But yeah, T-ball bat's very important. Cold remedy, don't really need that yet, but we'll need that later because nighttime stuffiness in this game is a bitch. Now see, there's some other sort of archaic things too, because this is a mid-90s RPG, just in terms of opening menus, talking to people. Yeah. And just saving was done like this. Thank goodness the VC version actually lets you do save states, or else you'd be in trouble. But I do like doing a hard save on this just to have it. Also, fun thing, at least they had announced it originally, that the VC version of this game comes with a print guide of it, and that's one reason they charge a little bit more for this. But then it comes out that no, it's not really comes with it or tied in. You actually can just access it from the gamepad whenever you want, so not totally great. Let's see how we do against some of these ruffians here. There's sharks, and oh my god, we're getting two. This is gonna probably be bad, especially since I didn't heal up. So, Yes Man Jr. or Pogo Punk, I can't remember how bad these are, but this is not the kind of enemies you'll see in this game, or in other games typically. So yeah, I'm about to get my face handed to me. Let's see if I can heal in time. Which a nice thing is that your health will scroll one way or another. Okay, so these guys are probably going to kill me here. There we go, so he's dead. I'm going to have to heal again, so we're definitely going to be going to heal up after this. But at least I can take out two, so he's not hitting me nearly as hard. But yeah, just like the aesthetic of this game is what's really nice to me. But okay, so hamburger, very good. But you'll see like inventory space is stupidly limited in this game. And you have, I believe you have inventory for individual characters too. But we are going to be wanting to deal with the pizza area a little bit later. Let's go to the hotel. Technically I can get a free heal by going all the way back to my house. But we're not going to do that because I've already set out all my adventure. And it's honestly not that much. So let's just go ahead and do this. $35. Oh wow. $35 is not cheap. So let's get $5 out of the ATM. Like I said, just little things you gotta do. At least now I don't have any cash hanging on me, so people can't apparently take my ATM card, but if I die I do lose cash. But yeah, I guess my point or little rant or thought from before is that I've been a fan of Nintendo for a long time. It's one of those things where I want them to do well. I want to be able to, say, produce content online and not have their legal team down my throats, which I will be drafting various documents just to see what I can possibly get them to do in case they try and raise some crap for me producing stuff for X2, because I will be doing that when it comes out. Or at least that is the hope, unless there's some kind of injunction, because I am well versed in the legalese as well. Just like this Pogo Punk is well versed in getting smashed in the face by a bat. And notice I'm getting a lot more experience now, and I should be pretty close to getting another level actually. I think you really want to be level 5 before you get in there. But I think 4 is going to be sufficient. As it looks like, okay, well, it looks like first off that we're going the wrong way. There we go. We gotta clear this little area, and I don't want to attract too much attention, or I don't want these guys to bring their friends over. So I could run into the arcade. maybe without attracting attention. So there we go. This is kind of your first dungeon, and these are not playable. But yeah, it was you. You beat up my buddy, didn't you? You better just beat it. So auto attack. Don't have to worry about it too much. So I do have plenty of healing items, so I can heal with cookies between fights. So there's a hamburger, so there we go. Pretty good stuff if they'll just keep giving me hamburgers here. Alright, so cookie up. More cookies. So don't need to totally heal all the time, but I do need to actually fight these guys. You sound like a real whiner to me. Don't get lippy or I'll kick your butt. So maybe not. Like I said, Earthbound has, if anything, it has plenty of charm. So Frank has an incredibly powerful weapon. If you get your hands on it, I bet you can stand against any enemy. Is it a gun? It's probably a gun. What do you got for me? Hey kid, do you want to become a member? No. Don't be such a snob, so we're going to fight. Because I don't really want to be the sharks, because... Okay, what kind of gang runs around in little skeleton shirts with hula hoops? I mean, it's the 90s. Yeah, you're laughing hysterically. I mean, we're not quite in rave party 90s yet when this game was released, but we're getting there with just excellent little happy pills flying around everywhere. Level 5, awesome. So my HP went up, but I didn't totally max it, so we'll want to... Let's just eat one more cookie. That should be sufficient, and then I can heal up with hamburgers or whatever later on. Because we have Frank right here with his incredible weapon. But yeah, what kind of street gang do you want to join? This isn't the Warriors, per se. But I'm Frank. You are... Come on, can't you at least say your name? My name's Ness, because I chose the I don't care option, so... Oh my god. Okay, so this song... If it sounds familiar, this is part of what people were questioning. Can they actually release Earthbound here with music like this? Because there would be some licensing issues. But Frank hits hard, so we are going to try and life up this bitch. Now 27 health, and I got hurt and collapsed, so lost the battle. So I cannot take on Frank yet. So I got my ass handed to me. Do I need to be level 6? I really think level 5 should be enough to do this. Ugh. So we're back to over here. I still have my goods. I still have my levels. I'm just going to need to possibly heal up. So I'm going to take on Frank one more time, and we're going to see if we can possibly win this here. So I am actually going to do a quick pause because I just want to kind of get the system complete, or at least game little story arc complete here, just for you all to see. But yeah, Earthbound is very much worth your time if you have not played it before, and is much more affordable if you have the console proper than, say, buying for 100 or 200 online for the original cartridge, which of course goes back to the buy it or pirate it option or debate, which, like I said, to me isn't really too much of a debate. It's one of them is a legal channel to get things, and one of them is not. So I'm just going to do a quick pause, and actually I think I may have been done with that butterfly and not needed to come up here. Yeah, so I'm good. So quick pause, and we're going to go see if I can take on Frankie Poo here again in just a little bit. Yay. Alright, so you remember what I said about this being a grindy game? Well, here we go. I'm level 7, and let's see here. I have leveled up quite a bit, did a little bit of grinding. I actually managed to get enough money to get a cheap bracelet, which upped my defense. So my offense and defense are both good now. I do not have my first offensive spell, but I'm going to be taking them on again. I have a much larger health pool, and that's kind of what Earthbound is about sometimes too. There's just gateways where you can't get through areas until you get some level, and then areas after that seem to be a little bit more of a breeze, so there's kind of some peaks and valleys in terms of difficulty. But we're going to see if we can take out Frank here. Certainly nothing to do with the Blues Brothers. Not at all. Not in that jacket. So let's go ahead and fight this guy with 2 knives, and we'll see. Either I'm going to get owned, or we're just going to say, you know what, Earthbound's fun, and he's already not taking out like 2/3 of my life, so that's a start. So I'm glad he came out swinging, and I just missed. So I gotta watch my health here because maybe after next attack I should. Yeah, I'm gonna need to heal next. Oh, I'm gonna crit, so there we go. He became tame because, yeah, there is this overarching, terrible, nasty alien enemy who is influencing everybody else in the world, but that's all in the prologue that you missed. Sorry, probably should have said that at the start instead of towards the end of the video, but 50. Then fail-proof Frank can't be beaten. Puff, 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 and this is Frankenstein Mark II. So I guess this is where the problem could lie, because I could die here. Because we have our big scary monster. Let's life up first. So it did a burst of steam. I don't know what that means, if anything, but we're going to let ourselves heal. 14 health. So 24 damage there, so... would like to actually hit you, though. So he's doing about 14 health. Probably need to heal next time. Because it's like he's attacking every other turn. But bad feel... Oh, okay, so... That hurts. By the way, if it does do... Oh, good, I killed him. So if he had done fatal damage there and I'd been able to heal in time, I would have actually survived. Thank you, scrolly numbers. But as it is, I get 76 experience, and this is Frank being a failure Frank. Well, hey, I'm right there with you. So I'll tell you about Giant Step. It seems to be a quite powerful spot. Some kind of special power is stored there. While certain people perform wondrous feats, however, a monster sucked up all the energy in that spot, and it's difficult to get the Giant Step. That's all I know. Suggest you collect more info on your own. The entrance to the path leading Giant Step is behind the touring entertainer shack. Pinkle the mayor of on it has a key to the shack. Nessie, you've become stronger than I, and your adventure's just beginning. So cool, Frank. You look kind of terrifying from there. But yeah, that's Earthbound in a nutshell. It is a very worthwhile RPG. If you have the ability to pick it up and play it, I highly recommend that you do so. So this is Way to Fail with just a look, just for fun, because you know what, I can do that. But hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the near future with plenty of gaming content. Hooray!